This is the greatest time in the history of the human existence to be alive. Is it fearful out there? Is there a lot of craziness? Is there a lot of stress? Is there a lot of doubt? Absolutely. And yet we live in a time where we have a chance to have amazing breakthroughs. Now, there's a chance things don't work out, but ultimately there's a lot of indicators that show this is a great time to be alive. So in the history of the human experience, for thousands of years, we lived in a thing called the agricultural age. And then most people were farming, and the way people communicated was one-to-one. So I would speak with you, you would speak to your spouse, I would write a note to you, you might write something to someone else, and so it was a one-to-one relationship. Then we evolved into, with the entrepreneurs coming to America and creating what we call the industrial age. And that's where we started to mass produce things and to have that entrepreneur spirit. And so how we would communicate there is now I could communicate with hundreds or thousands with the invention of the printing press. So now I could have a book, a thought, a newsletter, and put it out to thousands of people if they wanted to read it. So that was the industrial age. Then we rolled into the next age, which we call the technology age, the age of the internet. So for decades, with the help of the U.S. government getting a man to the moon, they created and spent a lot of money on private companies to invent technology and ultimately the internet. And that's where then for decades we now had access to, I could put my information out to millions and I could get millions of bits of information. So it's a bit overwhelming. It's kind of cool to have instant access to information. Yet often then who gets lost in that? I do, or that one-to-one and that intimacy and impacting that moment. So we're now in a new age, and so it's something. I've heard it called the exponential age. I've heard it called many different things. We call it the wisdom age. So welcome to the wisdom age. It's a great time to be alive. And what does that mean? That means ultimately with technology and with the past ages, I can find wisdom, but at the end of the day, it's looking for wisdom inside me and inside you and sharing that. And so it's more intimate. It's that learning. That's that evolution that we're a part of. And so, at times I've been fearful of the future and say, oh my gosh, we're going to blow this world up before my kids grow up. And yet, that could happen, but I'm not going to let that happen, or at least I'm going to do everything I can and tap into that inner genius and that wisdom and tap into yours and share it. And so Dr. Bill Isaacs, who I was fortunate enough to spend some time with years ago at MIT, and what he talked about is dialogue is the art of learning together. So I have my ideas, my experiences, my opinions, you have yours. So you may or may not convince me, I may or may not convince you to change your mind, but it's about learning together. And as I share my idea and deep thoughts, and I hear yours, and I'm hearing myself speak and think, that's when then we get real wisdom. So great time to be alive. I'm excited to be a part of it. Welcome to the Wisdom Age.